Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me. Tonight, I'll try and make the case for using timber in construction, highlighting its benefits and how it compares with other building materials, and especially in terms of environmental performance. So I'll start with a quick overview of the current situation, our building stock, future needs, and the impact of the most commonly used construction materials. So by 2050, the global population is expected to grow by around 20%, reaching 9.7 million people, with about 70% of us living in urban areas. This means cities will keep expanding, more housing, more infrastructure, and the existing building stock will need to be renovated and adapted. All of this calls for sustainable and efficient building practices that help us meet the targets on time and deliver long-lasting performance. At the moment, the built environment accounts for around 42% of total global annual CO2 emissions. About 27% comes from building operation. That means energy used for example, heating, cooling, lighting, and so on. The remaining 15% comes mainly from the concrete and metal industries, whose impact becomes even more important as operational emissions drop thanks to the new technologies. I've seen you have a talk about heat pumps, for example. So this really highlights the importance of tackling the issue from the material side of the industry. So this infographic here shows the approximate amount of embodied carbon per kilo for the most commonly used building materials. Embodied carbon refers to all greenhouse gas emissions, which are released during the production, transport, construction, and the eventual disposal of materials. So as you can see, metals have a high impact, mostly because of the high temperatures and energy needed for their production. Concrete has a smaller impact per kilogram, but it's used in huge quantities, so overall, its total emissions are very significant. Other materials like plastic, glass, and brick have relatively high impact per kilo, but they are used in smaller amounts overall. And then there is timber, which stands out with a negative embodied carbon value, thanks to its ability to absorb CO2 from the atmosphere and store it. Overall, the emissions from harvesting, transporting, and processing timber are offset by the carbon absorbed during its growth, as we know, with photosynthesis. Plus, timber manufacturing uses far less energy compared to other materials. Here are shown a focus on the UK, showing the most commonly used building materials. And as you can see, concrete is by far the most used. So even though, as we've seen before, its impact per kilo is smaller than metals, for example, its sheer volume makes it a major contributor. And you can also see that timber already makes a positive impact on embodied carbon overall, even though it's used in smaller amounts. So why not use it more? Besides the absorption of CO2 during its growth, timber stores that carbon throughout the life of the building, working as a carbon sink. Other environmental benefits include the fact that timber is a renewable resource. All construction timber comes from sustainably managed forests. Probably you've seen the logo on top on also other materials. So this is a mark of a sustainably managed forest, which means that for every tree felled, others are planted. along with other standards that ensure biodiversity, regeneration, and social and ecological sustainability. Timber manufacturing also produces very little waste, and new technologies are helping us to make the most of every log. For example, in our factory in Methven, we have the largest finger jointing machine in the UK, which allows us to remove defects and rejoin pieces into longer sections, minimizing waste. And even the waste that is produced, like sawdust, for example, can be repurposed to make products such as pellets. Moving on to the performance benefits, one of the timber's greatest strengths is its high strength-to-weight ratio. So it's light, but it's strong, which means easier transportation, less need for heavy foundation, and therefore less concrete, and the possibility to build upwards on existing structures. And in light of what we've seen at the beginning, that's a great advantage for urban expansion and regeneration. The example here is a building in Australia where 10 additional floors were added on top using CLT. So in the image here the gray part is the existing building, and the 10 floors on top in white are the CLT structure. So basically a new building on top of an existing one. Timber also lends itself well to prefabrication, offering high precision and design flexibility. This means quicker assembly and the ability to build in tight spaces. This example is from Portobello in Edinburgh, where this 3-story CLT structure was built on a brownfield site in between buildings. So prefabrication ensured precise measurements and minimal time on site, which was crucial in a busy urban area. Last but not least, timber's natural qualities make it great for comfort and well-being. It breathes, helping regulate humidity and indoor climate. It reduces noise and is naturally insulating. Studies have also shown that being around timber can have positive effects on heart rate and blood pressure. This is why it's increasingly used in schools, and it feels like a bit like being in a wood. All the benefits I've mentioned before, of course, have an impact also on the economy and have economic advantages. So shorter construction times, smaller foundations, so less material and less concrete. And it's easier to comply with the increasingly strict sustainability standards. Of course, timber also has another benefit that I forgot about is the variety of product. So the timber can be used in its solid form. There are a variety of species, but it can also used as engineered timber products. So for example, glulam, which allows to reach longer spans and bigger section than the solid timber, and CLT, which we can find in the form of panels. And there are also a variety of thermally modified timber that enhance the performance of this material. Of course, timber also has its challenges, just like any other material. Fire safety must be carefully designed for, and Dave will talk to you more about that later. And we also need to detail properly to avoid moisture entrapment, since water for the building can be as damaging as fire. Finally, because it's a natural material, every piece of timber is unique, which is wonderful aesthetically, but can present some challenges from an engineering point of view. To wrap up, timber offers a genuinely sustainable, efficient, and versatile solution for the future of construction. It helps us cut carbon emissions, supports healthier living spaces, and allows us to build faster and smarter, all while keeping an eye on environmental responsibility. Of course, no material is perfect, but with good design and proper detailing and responsible sourcing, timber can play a major role in shaping the cities of tomorrow. Thank you very much for your attention. And here are my details if you have any question or would like to know more about what we do at IWS and Glenalmond Timber. Thank you.